The citizens of the country are suffering because of the economic hardships that continue to increase while the country continues to sink into more debt. Against such a backdrop, the Indian government extended a $1.5 billion credit line for the import of essential food items, medicine and fuel. Since India extended such a large financial aid package, proposals for the 13th Amendment to the Constitution to be implemented fully has come to the forefront of the debates among political parties in the north. Recently, leaders of 7 Tamil political parties had written to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi through the Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, requesting for the Indian Prime Minister to intervene and call for the full implementation of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The Tamil National Alliance is also a signatory to this document. Convening a media briefing today, TNA parliamentarian Govindam Karunaharan clarified their request.
India and Sri Lanka has maintained relations for a long period of time. India supports in development projects in the north and the east. They build houses in the estates. India supports Sri Lanka that is currently facing many economic hardships. By fully implementing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, we can ensure our existence.
Meanwhile, the Tamil National People's Front has launched a protest against the full implementation of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The protest was led by the leader of the party, Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam. The protest march continued for the 3rd day today from Arali in Jaffna to Manipai.
We need to defeat these supporters of a unitary state. At a time when the government of Gotabaya Rajapaksa is attempting to pass a new constitution, they are attempting to include all the provisions of the 13th Amendment in this new constitution. All other parties except the Tamil National People's Front are involved in this conspiracy to demand for the provisions of the 13th Amendment to the constitution to be implemented fully. We are of the stance that we need a federal solution. The party of Gajendra Kumar is attempting to portray us as an agent of India. Who are you representing? Today the situation is such that the Chinese ambassador visits Jaffna and checks how far is India from that point. But they have not opposed that.
This is the stance of Minister Douglas Devananda with regard to the 13th Amendment to the Constitution.
I always said that the 13th Amendment to the Constitution could be a good start, but today, after 30 years, a group of Tamil political parties have united and sent a letter to the Indian Prime Minister. This is what I said from the start.
Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Professor Peiris said that internal matters of Sri Lanka must be solved through an internal mechanism.
No, these are problems to be resolved with the leadership of this country. The President, the Prime Minister, the Parliament of Sri Lanka, that is the only way to put in place viable solutions to these issues.
We will provide an opportunity for Tamil parties to hold discussions with the President.
Tamil political parties are discussing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution while considering India as a stakeholder. This comes at a time when the UNHRC sessions are set to take place in March. Speaking in Jaffna, Foreign Minister Professor Peiris said a completely new Prevention of Terrorism Act will be introduced.
Now what is being done is, now these are the immediate amendments. Now we are doing this in 2 stages. The entire PTA legislation is being reviewed and there will be a new law in due course. Completely new law. Now this is a law enacted in 1979, 42 years old. So as a first step, we have come up with urgent amendments. These are not all the amendments. These are being enacted as a matter of priority. Say what has happened is the President has appointed an officials committee that consists of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Defence and the Attorney General's Department. Then the report of the officials committee will come to a cabinet subcommittee. We are both members of it, right? So the officials committee and the cabinet subcommittee have both been vested with responsibility for drafting a completely new law, comprehensive law, which will replace the 1979 law.
The Foreign Minister also met with relatives of missing persons during a program under the theme Access to Justice in Jaffna today. A group of relatives, however, voiced their objection towards the program.
This is taking place according to plan. The UNHRC sessions are coming up in March. They are simply acting out a drama. This is not a joke but a challenge. Diplomats from countries who supported Sri Lanka against the resolutions that were presented at the UNHRC sessions in Geneva are now visiting the country. Foreign Minister Professor Peiris yesterday thanked Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu for the support Sri Lanka received at the UN General Assembly. The Foreign Minister expressed his gratitude when he met with his Turkish counterpart yesterday. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peiris also visited Sri Lanka recently. During a meeting with him, Professor Peiris reiterated the need to optimize utilization of the EU GSP Plus facility in accessing the Hungarian market. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian is also expected to visit Sri Lanka at the end of this month.
Back in the day, it was the Dutch, the Portuguese and the British. Now it's China, India and the United States. This country is worth the money they pay. Just think about it. What did the rulers do back then? What are the rulers doing now? The Western world wants to take over our land, and our rulers just stood there and just sold it off to them. We ask our rulers, you have ruled our country for 74 years, and what are the international relations you have developed over the years? They have taken over so many things on our land. We haven't taken over anything that belongs to them. The Chinese very clearly know that we can't run the port. They knew that they can easily take over, and that's exactly what they did. They are planning on building another port city in Galle. They know that it is also land in their hands. Our rulers wanted an airport in Mattala. The Chinese built one. They built a 500-seater auditorium in Hambantota, and now we are drowning in debt. They gave it from one hand and took it back from the other. We have to pay them 2,600 million just as interest every year. That's 500,000 a day. Sri Lanka goes to work in the morning so that the government can pay interest to foreigners. I'm not talking about debt. This is just the interest.